Hi everyone, I'm Nicole, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Mtts 1, 2, and 3 issues that are associated for parents and students. So we'll get started in a minute when I put the Prezi up. So I will be talking about the issues associated with technology for parents and students. They cover the legal, ethical, and safety issues for parents and students. So I'll begin with the ethical issues, and under each category of ethical issues falls a different issue. So the order it will go in will be the gender divide, the racial divide, and the socioeconomic divide, and each of these will be explained. So to begin, I'll start with the gender issues. Gender issues fall in two categories. You have the traditional view, which is girls do better than boys in reading, and boys do better than girls in math and STEM fields, and STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Parents expect their boys more than the girls to work in a STEM field, so there's pressure from home. And another traditional view is women should stay clear of scientific careers because other careers are more suited to them, like teaching or childcare. This, in contrast to the view now, is very different. The view now says that boys are in trouble and they need attention from parents, educators, and other people. I have a question for y'all. It's a true or false question, and it is, girls get most of their information about future studies through the internet. So I want you to think in your head right now if you think that is true or if you think that is false. Let's take a couple more seconds. If you guessed true, you are 100% right. From the Huffington Post, it says, because girls get most of their information about future studies through the internet, this statement implies that employers can do more to engage girls in learning about potential careers. So the girls go to the internet to get more information. They're less likely to go out to job fairs and other type of get-togethers to find information about future jobs. Also, in multiple articles, they said the key to success is the ability to read quickly and accurately along with writing well. Traditional views of raising children do not make it seem okay for male students to read challenging and engaging text because they should be doing math and science, technology, and engineering. But if reading is an important skill that is needed for life in the future, the boys should be given books and other materials that they can read and engage with so that they can have a career and engage in life. But along with this, there's a lack of eagerness to solve the problems boys face in education because people are still worried about the boys' behavior in the classroom and other issues with boys. These changing views are very different for those who grew up at a time where the traditional views were how it goes. Research done by many institutions and other agencies are showing that boys need attention also, and they have their own issues when it comes to education. So both genders should be given attention to when thinking about education. One should not be given more attention than the other. PISA, P-I-S-A, is an acronym that stands for the Program for International Student Assessment. This program assesses reading, math, and science in many different countries. It is an international, all over the world, assessment group. PISA assesses how boys and girls know what they know and what they can do with what they know. They have found that girls do better in reading than boys, and boys do better in math, but both boys and girls perform about the same in science. They have also found that through their assessments that 6 out of 10 low achievers in all the subjects PISA assesses are boys. That is a staggering statistic. Another acronym that is important when discussing gender issues is OECD, which stands for the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Through their research, they have found that the gender gap in math persists today. The top-performing males are outperforming the top-performing girls. So this is also an issue. Overall, this issue This is an issue that should concern everyone, not just parents and educators. The students in the class can encourage everyone, whether they are boys or girls, and work together to help everyone understand the subjects in school. Educators should encourage everyone in the classroom and show that each student is capable of doing all the subjects in school. Parents, you can help your child by engaging your girls, if you have one, to try some STEM activities and see how they like it. If they do like it, encourage them to continue. And if you have boys, encourage them to read, because reading is a lifelong skill that they need for success. So this issue concerns everybody, parents, students, and educators. It's not a one-person issue. Next are racial issues, and racial issues have been the fault line that has shaped our nation's history. From slavery to civil rights, Asian Americans being put in cancer in World War II, and more, racial issues are in the nation's history. Unfortunately, the racial divide still exists in school today, and people are forgetting the saying, treat everyone the way you want to be treated regardless of appearance. Just because someone is a different race from you does not mean that they are any different or should be treated any differently. But even still, the racial issues continue, with joblessness being higher for Blacks in every educational level that is tracked by the Labor Department. There is also a rising proportion of the nation's white-collar professionals being African American, but Blacks are still underrepresented in these jobs and overrepresented in low-skilled jobs. Another statistic, white families were 4.3 times as wealthy as Black and Hispanic families in 2007, and that percent has increased to 6.1% in 2010, according to the New York Times. Also, young Blacks are dying at the hand of someone else still remains a threat that only this group faces. No other subgroup faces this threat. So, clearly we still have a racial divide. And minorities will soon grow to approach the level of whites, which means that everyone will have to be treated the same way because they will be at an almost equal proportion. Parents and students need to remember that everyone deserves the same opportunities regardless of what race they are. The equity and equality baseball example helps explain the difference here. With equality, everyone has the same scaffolding or help given. So in this example, we see 3 different sized boys with the same size block to help them see over the fence to see this game. Equity is when us as the teacher or you as the parent provide what is needed for that child to succeed. So this very tall student here, he doesn't need a lot of scaffolding because he can already see. This boy here needs 1 block to be able to see. But this little boy right here, he needs 2 blocks so he's able to see. So everyone should be getting the same opportunities, but what they're given to get there, the equity part of it, should be a little more depending on the person. This issue has been addressed multiple times by the government and by other people, so it is up to the parents, students, and schools to make this no longer an issue by changing minds 1 person at a time. It is an issue that can definitely be changed. On to socioeconomic status. So many people understand socioeconomic status in the conceptualized view, but it is more than that. It is measured as a combination of education, income, and occupation, and the conceptualized view is the social standing or class of an individual group, which is low, medium, or high. Socioeconomic status is one of those societal norms that is continuous throughout one's life, and an individual's, like your student, is determined by their family standing. Socioeconomic affects every part of education, a student's life, and family functions. Low socioeconomic status correlates to lower education, poverty, poor health, less financial resources, and time parents spend with their families, according to the American Psychological Association. Therefore, this is a concern of society as a whole. Also, according to the APA, research indicated that schools in low socioeconomic status communities suffer from high levels of unemployment, high teacher migration, and low educational achievement. This is something that needs to be worked on because those low socioeconomic statuses, they need more to help their students. They need the right people with the right amount of education, with the right professional development and quality of training. A teacher's years of experience and quality training is correlated with the children's academic achievement, and that is from Gimbert, Bull, and Wallace, which was published in 2007. Also, socioeconomic issues affect a child's well-being through stress levels. Low socioeconomic status students suffer from more chronic and acute illnesses, according to this chart, which is from Jensen. The chart in itself is saying that the more stressors you have, the higher the percentage of children exposed. So we notice that the dark gray here is non-poor and the gray is poor. So very few poor children have less than 10% of issues. As you go along, you notice the gray significantly increases as you keep going, and then it comes back down. So the students in low socioeconomic statuses, they have acute and chronic stress, and some of it cannot be resolved. It needs to be worked on in schools. Now, tying this into digital, how many of you kids love the internet or love books on a Kindle? How many of us love watching videos on YouTube, watching our favorite TV shows on Netflix, watching educational videos in class? Well, according to the International Development Research Association, there's this thing called a digital divide. Now, the digital divide is the gap that exists between those groups in the United States who have access to technology and those who don't. This correlates highly with socioeconomic status because the people in higher socioeconomic statuses, they're likely to have more technology because they can afford it. Those socioeconomic status families may not be able to afford the internet for their house or to afford any other digital technologies that are available. So the IDRA, which was the International Development Research Association, they have some staggering statistics. In low-income families, a white child is 3 times as likely as an African-American child to have internet access and 4 times as likely as a Hispanic child. Clearly, there is a disparity between what a white child, an African-American, and a Hispanic child will have. This also ties into a racial issue because all the issues are tied together. Also, another statistic from the IDRA, 40% of home computer purchases are first-time buyers. So that means that is someone who has finally saved up enough money to go out and buy a computer for the house or have internet. So from that statistic, the rest of the people, 60% of those other people already have technology in their home and they're either upgrading or they're adding devices into their home. That is a staggering statistic. So therefore, teachers in schools and classrooms need to have technology for students to use, and they need to use technology in authentic ways. If you as a parent know that your teacher has technology, you might want to consider asking them or sending them an email saying, we don't have this technology in the home. Can you please use it in the classroom so my child can succeed? Or ask if there are other opportunities to get internet into their home, like the school sending out their wireless to try and get the students engaged with the internet. So what's the big deal with all these ethical issues? They all are tied together. Gender, racial, and socioeconomic statuses, they're all tied together, so they all need to be addressed to ensure that all 3 of them are taken care of. Next, we have safety issues. Now, for all of those kiddos out there who don't know what safety is, those are the rules or strategies that are put in place to make sure that you are okay and that you are accounted for. Your safety is adults' very high priority. And these issues are important for parents and children to know about because they are for your safety. They're for your friends' safety. They're for your children's safety. They're for your safety. Knowing about the acceptable use policy, which is up on the screen right now, and cyberbullying will be beneficial to you as a parent, student, or anybody else who's watching this video. So the acceptable use policy, that's that little square that pops up when you go somewhere new and it says, click these terms to continue. I agree to these terms and policies of use. So it's the thing that most people just click I accept without reading and then continue on. But most people don't know what an acceptable use policy is, or an AUP. It is the set of rules that the owner or administrator of a network or website has set up to restrict the way in which their network or website may be used and the guidelines as to how it is to be used. So it's basically your rules and regulations of using the person's website. AUPs state what you can do, what you cannot do, a code of conduct, a philosophy statement from the owner, disclaimers, and consequences of violating the AUP. So this may not seem like a big deal to everybody, but this is a really big deal because once you click you accept it and you start using the network, you are bound in a contract. So therefore, if you misuse the website or network, they're assuming that you knowingly did it and there will be consequences that you have read about and accepted. As I said before, most people just glance over it. They might not read it because it looks too long and everywhere has one, but you do need to read it. There might be something in there for a website that you need to know or that you need to use to make sure that you are doing everything correctly and that you do not get in trouble. You can find AUPs for most everything online. You can Google Wycomico Board of Education AUP policy, or you can follow this link to get there. It is not a long document. It is 6 pages, 6 to 8 pages, and it's big font. So if you want an example of what an AUP looks like, what it says, and how to read it, you might want to consider taking a look at the Wycomico Board of Education AUP policy. Next, we have cyberbullying. I'm sure all you students know what cyberbullying is. You might have been a person doing cyberbullying. You might have been a victim. Some of the parents might know someone's child who got in trouble because of bullying or cyberbullying, and they are closely connected. So what is bullying? Well, bullying is unwanted aggressive behavior that involves a power imbalance that occurs multiple times over a period of time. Now, cyberbullying is bullying that occurs through the use of electronics or technology like text, social media, chat rooms, and websites. Because it can happen over technology, it can happen 24/7 and at any time during the day. You parents, if you go to sleep and your child is still on a technology device, there is a chance that they will be cyberbullied. There is a chance they can be cyberbullied. And if you're sleeping, there's no way of knowing. Also, the people who are cyberbullying, who are cyberbullies, their messages can be posted anonymously and they spread quickly. Once something is out on the internet, there's no erasing it, and thousands on thousands and soon millions of people will see it. Even if you think it is deleted, people can still find it. So, what are some of the warning signs? Now, I need you kids who are listening to this to think real carefully about this. Okay? Are there injuries? Has a friend or your eating habits changed? Has there been a decline in grades or lessened desire to go to school? Have you told your parents, I don't want to go to school, someone has been harassing me, I don't want to go, I don't feel safe? Has there been a loss of friends or decreased self-esteem? Students, did you once think you could do math and then all of a sudden think that you weren't good enough to do math? Parents, you need to look at these warning signs. If anything happens or changes in your child, you should be asking questions. The signs of a bully, now that we know the warning signs, bullies are generally aggressive, They might have extra money or new material objects showing up. They might blame others for problems or worry about their reputation among their friends or just for themselves. Or they might have a friend who's a bully and they might just be going along with it because they want that person as a friend. So now that we know what cyberbullying is, the signs, and knowing the signs of a bully, what do you do if you're being cyberbullied? Or your child is being cyberbullied? Don't respond to the cyberbullying messages and keep evidence of them. Take a screenshot or keep the text or print out the dates and times. Do what you have to do to make sure that you have evidence of the cyberbullying. Also, you can block the bully online. Many websites like Facebook and Instagram and other websites, you have the option of blocking people and reporting them to the site. And that brings me to the next site. Report cyberbullying to the school, and you can report it on the social media site. If you're reporting it to the school, it is a good thing because in the classroom, there might be an unstable environment for students at the school, and they could be experiencing in-person bullying as well. So if your school does not have cyberbullying rules in place, they should, and it would be in their anti-bullying policy. For parents, it is your job to keep your child safe. You're legally responsible for them until they are 18. That includes their educational environment and everything for their well-being. So please know the sites that your child is visiting and know what they're doing online and in text. It might seem awkward asking your 15, 16, 17-year-old child, oh, can I look at your text really quick? Or, oh, what are you doing on social media? Or even friending or following your child on social media and knowing what gets posted on their wall. If the child doesn't immediately recognize something as cyberbullying and you do, you can keep the evidence of it. Also, you could ask your child to let you or a trusted adult on social media because it is an easy way to monitor their activity. And you can show your children how to be smart about what they do and say online. This can be modeled in the home through modeling physically yourself, like, hey, come here and watch me post this and see how it goes, and introduce your child to different things. And to end on the note for cyberbullying, in the 2013-2014 school statistics, 7% of students grades 6 through 12 were cyberbullied. That might seem like a very low statistic, but there should be 0% of cyberbullying. So 7% is already too much for this to be allowed to be happening. So, overall, all this information is important and should not be taken lightly. There are issues associated with the technology in the classroom, at home, and more. But knowing about the issues and continuing to educate yourself about these topics after this concludes will benefit everyone, not just your parents, not just the students. It would even benefit the teacher for you to be up on the technology in case they aren't. Because you never know. Being up to date on this technology and information might prevent something from happening to you, to your child, or to someone you care about in the future. And here are the references. The other ones. And we are done. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day and that you learned something.